You're welcome back to Study Section 12 and AMP 201 Introduction to General AGRIC on Animals. I will be taking you through a quick tour on the topic Introduction to Animal Breeding. Introduction. Human beings depend on animals and animal products for food and other requirements. So, in dairy and product farms, high yielding animals are reared. So, these high yielding animals are produced by hybridization experiments. So, the animals were developed based on scientific method, and this phenomenon is called artificial selection. So an increased knowledge of genetics has helped in improving the quality of animals and animal products as per the human requirements. So at the end of this study section, you should be able to explain the animal breeding principles. Two, you should be able to discuss the method of animal breeding, and lastly, you should be able to highlight the breeds of cattle. Let's discuss this learning outcome one after the other. The animal breeder faces many complex problems during hybridization experiments because many traits of animals are dependent on the interaction of multiple genes. So the techniques for the improvement of animals involve principles of selection based on quantitative variation. It is not possible for all of the desirable traits to be obtained in one individual. So the following are the traits to check when to choose an animal for hybridization. The first one is the body form. It is an important factor in selecting improved varieties of animal. So a certain body form in cattle and broilers will have a high yield market value. So they yield delicious mutton if they are well built body form. So the next one is productivity. This is of a great significance to the breeder. Sometimes it has first priority over traits. For example, the number of eggs, quantity of milk, or wool per animal is an important criterion in any program of improvement of animals. So in addition to the quantity, the quality of the productivity is also to be taken into consideration during breeding experiments. The cattle which yield low quantity of milk but having high percentage of fat content are more prominent than those which have high yield quantity of milk but with low percentage of fat content. The last one is resistance to diseases. Resistance to diseases, this is the ability of the animal to resist disease, to withstand any adverse environment condition, to withstand any adverse environment condition. The following breeding methods are followed for improvement of animals in dairy and poultry. They are inbreeding, outbreeding, and mutations. Inbreeding is the crossing of closely related animals. So if this inbreeding is repeated continuously, it is called upgrading. Inbreeding is used to retain desirable genetic traits in animal. Also, inbreeding is required in order to retain as many traits as possible by keeping the combination of genes intact. So the crossing of distantly related animals are called outbreeding. One of the problems the animal breeder faces in outbreeding is the introduction of the new genes into population. So in this method, it is possible to breed a desirable type of animal with a less desirable type and then to increase the degree of desirable traits. So the new traits into population can also be induced through mutation. Since most of these mutations are harmful and the process of induction of mutation is quite expensive, this method of improvement of animal is impractical. We have over 24 major breeds of cattle and 6 breeds of buffaloes in India. These can either adapt themselves to local conditions or conditions throughout the country. The important breeds of Indian cattle for different purposes are much breeds, which are Dinion, Red Sienna, and etc. We have drought breeds. We have general utility breeds. So buffaloes are better than cows because they have more resistance to diseases. They give more milk and they live longer. Their milk yielding capacity is 3 times more than that of cows. And buffalo's milk is also superior to cow's milk in fat content and minerals. So you can read up for breeding for poultry breeds in your study materials. We have come to the end of this study section, and I hope you've learned 1 or 2 things from this video section. You can read more from your materials to broaden your knowledge on these courses. Thank you for listening.